Okay, if you hear any voices, it's all in your head, okay? That's number one. No, I'm joking. I'm in the city. I'm in a really big city right now. I'm not gonna disclose where, but I'm just in a really big city right now. Yeah. Also, look at this. Look at this. Pinkest strawberry to ever pink. Pinkest strawberry to ever pink in my entire dog life. I don't really want people to see this. Unfortunately, I'm in a very somewhat conservative area, but I'm in a hotel by myself, so we're okay. I had thoughts and onions to talk about, but now when I look at myself in a screen, I'm like, wow, my skin is so clear. My skin is not even clear in real life. Listen, I have gone through the planes, many planes. It is not easy traveling. Traveling is not easy. You have to deal with crying babies. Turbulence, if you're a girl, turbulence just hits a different way, okay? If you know what I'm talking about, like that little whoosh up that you get, that's a different type of weird. If you're in the window seat, I think I want to become an aisle seat stand, because I have to take like 1,000 potty breaks before I feel like I'm satisfied, like, because my bladder, you know where I think I get it from though? I think I get it from the fact that I was one of those kids who used to like sit down in the toilet for like an hour long reading whatever hell book I was into. It's either like Percy Jackson or Warriors Cats or something, and I'd sit down there for like an hour until my mom would be like, hey yo, you're gonna get hemorrhoids if you keep sitting down there for God knows however long. And I'd be like, I'm fine. But even though I never did get hemorrhoids, I did feel like I got a really tiny bladder. I have a bunch of random things that I like to say, like, because my brain is constantly thinking. Because, like, I sometimes used to watch videos like this where people would just yap to no avail, and you'd be like, wow, like, your life is so interesting. But I feel like people out there are like, your life is really interesting. They don't tell me to make a YouTube. No, I'm making that myself. But I think I could be a very interesting person, because the person that I am when I'm alone and I'm yapping is not the same person that I am with friends. I feel like I can't be weird. I can't be weird, because I am weird. I think there was just one day last year where I was just like, I am kind of weird. You know, I've been called annoying, I've been called loud, I've been called whatever. Not loud in the stereotypical way. I am literally just loud because I'm an Aries, okay? Being an Aries. So, happy early birthday to me, of course. But yeah, I've accepted it. So yeah. What did I write? So on 3/14, I wrote, first of all, jet lag is a bitch. Jet lag is a bitch indeed, because you get tired at 3 p.m. when in your fucking hometown it's like, what, 6 a.m. and you're like, you're so tired. 2, this hair that I'm wearing right now is very tight. It's very, very tight. Cornrows are not to be played with. Let me say it again. Cornrows are not to be played with. I got this hair and they're blow drying it. I cried. Hair is pain. Every single time I go to the hairstylist, any hairstylist, I mainly do my hair myself, but like any hairstylist, I'm like, I want to dye, number 1. And number 2, I want to shave my head. It'd be so much easier. My problems would be so much easier if I just shaved my fucking head. But when it comes out and you get to wear it for months and months on end and get thousands of compliments from people, or even just people gawking at you, it is so totally worth it. Okay? It is totally mother freaking worth it. Last night I was so sad. I could not even tell you why. Maybe it was the combination of crying with that fucking hot comb and blow dryer on my head while simultaneously doing my nails. Yes, they did my nails, mani-pedi, and hair. Okay, that is something else. That is something else. I have one agenda, and that's to swim. I did swim. I went to the beach here in this country that I'm in. I actually just recently came back. Is my tan still strong? I don't think so. I think it's just really hard to see. When you're living and you're traveling, and then sometimes you go on like Instagram or YouTube and you see all these like people that you follow, whether it's like just normal people or influencers, I always feel like I think there's something ingrained in my head, and this is because I downloaded social media at a very young age. I always feel like in the back of my head, I have to make sure that I look as Insta worthy as possible, because I'm like, all these are pictures that I take are probably going to Instagram. But I've also tried to train myself into being like, while I'm recording, I want to be as present as possible into what I am recording, because it's so amazing. Like what I'm seeing the ocean clear view. When I go into the ocean, I'm thinking about what's happening with my life. I'm trying to think about like how to be present. And I find that I feel like, for myself at least, there's just so much that's happening around the world. Yeah, thumbs up, okay? I think there's so much that's happening around America that it's getting harder and harder to be in the present. Like, I feel I'm more alive in my memories of the past than I do in the present. And that's actually a point I put there. Like, I feel more alive in my memories than I do feel in, like, when I'm actually there. And I feel like if I was actually, like, permanently there, then I wouldn't have this, like, waiting feeling of, oh, I have to leave eventually. I'm gonna leave eventually, so I need to get, like, getting used to being in the present. And, like, part of me wants to go to therapy for, like, you know, trying to learn how to be present minded and not having to constantly think, be on speed dial. So, like, you know, doing these, like, talks, writing my notes down. Like, I have all these things that I want to say, but I'm always afraid of being depicted as, like, weird or, like, way too overcritical or whatever. When I was, like, 14, 15, I used to be, like, on YouTube and watch all these, like, you know, Fox Media, Vice Media, Refinery 29, occasionally, like, you know, your little CNN or Fox News or whatever. And I just used to, like, read about all these, like, things that were happening all over the world. You know, when I was in the plane going to the beach, just thinking about, like, oh, why do I want to go to Europe so bad? Because they have all these, like, free rights for everybody, you know? Like, they have, like, affordable healthcare, they have, you know, walkable cities, transportation, and it's diverse, right? But I'm like, at what expense did they have to reach that point? And I'm like, bro, European socialism is happening at the expense of African exploitation, okay? The whole, like, I've heard, like, Western influence, you know, is always trying to take down or corrupt or whatever in Africa. That's, like, a big thing in Africa. But without Africa's resources, a lot of these Western countries would crumble. And that's something that they're really willing to accept. And I'm like, part of me is not sure whether, you know, Africa may or may not have the resources to fight back. But we're just not at that time point yet where, like, something has been invented in Africa to fight back, like a Killmonger situation. Like, the Western influence, what am I trying to say, just needs to crumble. Like, I don't know which one will happen first. And I feel like media, news outlets, that they make it seem like we're just always on the verge of crumbling, but nothing's happening. The delay between what's happening on, like, the news versus what's happening on real life, there are people who are feeling it, don't get me wrong. There are people who are feeling it. But I feel like, at least in my, like, the groups that I'm in, the vast majority of us don't really feel it until much, much later, if that makes sense. There's a certain delay that happens. When it comes to, like, I guess, European socialism, it's not gonna last. Nothing ever lasts forever. There's some tweet I saw where it's like the average empire lasts 250 years. America's slowly approaching 250 years. I think, like, by next year it's gonna be 250 years. And, like, history is just so badly, there's so much we don't know. Because I feel like history, the ones that we learned in class, isn't even probably accurate half the time. American propaganda is crazy, bro. American propaganda is crazy. There is this thing where it's like we have these, like, 1, 2, 3 reasons why we think someone is bad, but we never learn about their side. We never ever listen to their side. Hi, it's Editing Me here. Reporters do report on, you know, atrocities that are done, but they don't do a very good job of it. Like, you see what, you know, what's happening with Palestine, for example, and how they're talking about Hamas. They're not talking about just saying Gazans have been killed. They don't say how. They don't say why. They don't say anything. They're just like Hamas. It's very centered. And this is CNN we're talking about, okay? Like, this is, like, the way Mind blowing. And then going even further back, when Osama bin Laden wrote the letter to the American people in 2002 after 9/11, criticizing foreign policy that's happening in the Middle East, America and the West have performed atrocities in the Middle East that they barely talk about. They talk about it in the news, blah, 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 but they always talk about it in the American perspective because we're in America, but they always fail to give the other side. They never give the other side because they want it to seem that America is better. We're never getting the full facts, and we're never accepting that America as a whole is not a perfect country. Matter of fact, I feel like we're the evil for many people around the world. American influence has ruined a lot of people in other countries, and a lot of, I think, especially global southern countries, in a lot of Middle Eastern countries. Like, we've always depicted all these places as bad, but what if they were never even bad to begin with? Trying to defend themselves. As an American, I have no sympathy for America. Almost little to no sympathy for like the American government. But as an African, I'm a little bit different because we have been exploited to no avail. No avail. Think about what's happening to Congo. Think about what's happening in Sudan. Think about what's happening in Ethiopia. White collar crimes. I don't know why people are constantly going after blue collar people when white collar people are the ones who need to be like charged for their crimes. I don't get it. I think part of the reason why people don't do really much is because they don't want to hurt the people who are around them. The biggest thing for a lot of people and why they don't fight back is, I don't even think it's because of themselves, it's because of the others who are with them. And they know that whatever they do, they're going to lose people. And that for a lot of people is too much. Even for myself, I think. My mom said, and I quote, "The chicken exercised their rights very well," and I agree with that. Everything is expensive now. Everything is expensive now. It is not an American thing, it is a global thing that everything is expensive now, okay? People cannot afford to live. People cannot afford to eat. People cannot afford. When I was at the beach, this beach that I'm in, the locals come by. They make very great salesmen. I'm talking salesmen not even Elon Musk could even do, okay? I'm talking they'll use one of like two things, right? They'll use just pure aggressiveness, like a pure salesman aggressiveness. The other one that, damn, it worked on me and my mom. I know people use it all the time, the pity marketing. But this man came up to us with very dirty clothes and he was like, "I'm trying to sell these things. I have not had meat. I haven't even had a plate to eat, but I need to feed my family, and like, even if you don't, whatever, like, I just need help, please." And where I am, there's a lot of white people, a lot of Europeans. I found out that the majority of the time, it's always the locals, the natives to this country that give back to their own people, and not the people who come and waste their fucking fat ass on those chairs, okay? They have their tan, I'm talking Donald Trump type tan, their tan asses on the bench, who are not even willing to pay a dime because every single part of their money is precious. That is how I know we are different. We are on different catastrophic levels. But anywho, we ended up giving this guy some money. He said, "I'm gonna eat some meat today. I'm gonna eat some really good meat today." You know, as much as I want to be relaxing, present in my mind, meditating, I'm like, you also just have to be aware of what's happening. You can't be in your mind pretending that everything is fine when there are other people around you can barely afford to eat. Like, literally, there's like the resorts and there's like the real life where it's ironclads on huts, people trying to sell their food at like a little snack hub. This is YouTube who I listen to. She recaps like reality TV shows, and there was one guy who decided that in his right mind that he would go to, I think it's Indonesia, to go sell banana chips for less than $1 and think that he was gonna make a lot of money and buy a house. That's how I know y'all are dumb. Y'all are fucking dumb. But yes, those are people who have to live that way because that's how they've been taught. And I'm telling you, if the government wasn't so corrupt, if we actually had some military power and we would learn proper sex ed, this country would thrive. sex ed is what's killing a lot of us women too. Sex ed needs to be taught, and better governance, better things for our people, better conditions. I think this country could really thrive. But with the way things are going and the way that the West likes to debilitate the fuck out of this whole continent, I don't know if that's gonna happen anytime soon. I would love it to happen though. But yeah, I'm gonna end it there because that became real dark real quick. But those are just things that I wanted to talk about really badly. So yeah, bye.